Okay, so if you're facing spinal surgery, let's be real. The biggest source of anxiety right after the surgery itself is the cost. It just feels like this huge, foggy unknown, right? Well, the entire point of this is to hand you a flashlight, to turn that anxiety into actual empowerment by giving you a clear financial map. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Your mind is on one thing and one thing only, getting better. But what you're actually signing up for is this incredibly complex financial event. The real shock isn't that surgery is expensive. I mean, we all know that. The shock is how it's expensive. It comes at you in a blizzard of separate bills that seem to just appear out of thin air. So let's get this straight from the get-go. That single cost estimate someone might give you, yeah, you can pretty much forget that. Think of it like a movie trailer. It's not the full movie. The reality is a maze of different bills from different companies for completely different services. And right now, we're going to walk through that maze together. First up, let's totally dismantle what I call the sticker price lie. Imagine you're going to a massive rock concert. You wouldn't expect to get a single bill from the band, would you? Of course not. The singer, the guitarist, the lighting crew, the stadium itself, they all send their own invoices. Well, guess what? Your surgery is the exact same kind of production. Now get this, because this is where most of us get it totally backwards. We tend to fixate on the star of the show, the surgeon. But just look at this chart. The surgeon's fee, it's often one of the smallest pieces of the entire bill. The real heavyweight, the charge that can truly knock you over, is the hospital or facility fee. That's for the operating room, the staff, all the supplies, and it is almost always the biggest single bill you're going to get. So if the surgeon is just one piece of this puzzle, who are all the other players? Okay, let's pull back the curtain and uncover the 9 potential bills that can just show up in your mailbox, each one acting like it was invited to the party all along. 9. Just let that number sink in for a second. 9 different categories of bills you could potentially get. Just knowing that they exist is your first and best line of defense. No more surprises.
And here they are. Now look, don't worry about memorizing this whole list. Just focus on the biggest landmines. We already talked about that giant hospital fee. But look at anesthesia. This one is a classic trap. Your hospital's in network, your surgeon is in network, but the anesthesiologist who just happens to walk into the room that day, they might not be. Then you have what I call the slow bleed of costs after you go home. Rehab, physical therapy, medications. It really all adds up.
All right, so now we know what all the bills are. The next critical step is to understand the insurance math that decides how much of those bills you actually have to pay. This is where a tiny little percentage can mean thousands and thousands of dollars out of your pocket. First, you have to get past the gatekeeper, your deductible. It's really simple. This is the amount of money you have to pay 100% on your own before your insurance company starts to help out at all. Knowing exactly how much you have left to pay on your deductible for the year is job number 1. Okay, so once you've paid your deductible, you enter the world of coinsurance. This is just the percentage of the bill that you're still responsible for. Maybe it's 20%. And 20% might not sound that scary until it's 20% of a number with a whole lot of zeros at the end of it. And this slide makes it crystal clear. 20% of your surgeon's bill? Okay, that's probably a manageable number. But 20% of that massive, unpredictable hospital facility fee, that is the number that can wreck a family's budget. It is the single most important number to figure out before your surgery, period. But there is a safety net, and it's called your out-of-pocket maximum. Think of this as the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the absolute cap, the most you will have to pay for covered care in a single year. Once you hit that number, insurance pays 100%. This number is your financial worst-case scenario, and believe me, just knowing it brings a huge peace of mind. Okay, we've identified all the problems, we've decoded the crazy math. Now for the most important part, turning all this knowledge into action. This is your game plan. This is how you get the financial clarity you deserve before you ever agree to the surgery. Seriously, do not pick up the phone until you have these 5 things written down in front of you. Your deductible, your coinsurance, your out-of-pocket max, and from your doctor, where is the surgery happening and what's the most likely procedure going to be. Walking into a conversation with this info changes the entire dynamic. You're no longer just a passenger, you're the co-pilot. And when you do make that call, here is your script. This is the magic phrase that unlocks everything. It's not confrontational at all. It tells them you trust their medical judgment, but you also have a responsibility to your own finances. You're not being difficult, you're being a responsible adult. Trust me on this, it works wonders. So, it all boils down to these 5 direct questions. What's plan A? What would make you switch to plan B? Who exactly is going to send me a bill? Are all of you guys in my network? And the finisher, the absolute holy grail, can I please have a written itemized estimate before the service? That last one is everything. So in the end, the true cost of your surgery isn't some deep, dark secret. It's just scattered. It's hiding in different departments, different companies, different billing offices. You can get the complete picture, but there's only one way to do it. You have to ask for the map. Now you know how. The only question left is, are you ready?